This Belarusian tennis player is being called a sore loser for the comments she made after recently losing to champion Coco Gauff.
She won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes.
So that's Aryna Sabalenka. And to bring you up to speed, Coco Gauff recently beat her at the French Open final. But listen, Aryna didn't take that L well at all.
It just hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Like, been playing really well, and then in the last match, go out there and perform like I did.
Aryna Sabalenka's post-match meltdown after losing to Coco Gauff in the French Open final didn't just shake Roland Garros. It turned into a global headline storm. From awkward interviews to a half-hearted apology that came weeks later, Sabalenka's honesty rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Question for you. Was Sabalenka just being brutally honest? Or was she out of line trashing Gauff's win? So let's talk about what really happened here.
Yeah, honestly, guys, this one hurts so much, especially after such a tough 2 weeks playing great tennis and in these terrible conditions, show such terrible tennis in the final. That's really hurt, but it's okay. Anyway, Coco, congrats in these tough conditions. You were a better player than me. Well done on a great 2 weeks, and congrats on the second Grand Slam. Well deserved here.
After getting crushed in the French Open final, Aryna Sabalenka walked into the post-match press conference looking like a volcano ready to explode. And she didn't disappoint. When asked what went wrong, instead of giving the usual polite "Coco played great," she basically said, "Yeah, it was windy, I was emotional, and she only won because I made mistakes." Yep, she said it.
Do you think there was a momentum shift in the first set because you started the match really well? You led 4-1. What happened at 4-1? Do you think that Coco got better or the conditions got tougher?
Yeah, I think it was more windy and got more windy, and also I think I was over emotional, and I think today I didn't really handle myself quite well. Mentally, I would say. So basically that's it. I was just making unforced errors.
Sabalenka's exact words were, "I think it was more windy." Also, I think I was over-emotional. I didn't handle myself quite well mentally. Basically, that's it. I was just making unforced errors. I don't think she won the match because she played incredible. Just because I made all of those mistakes. In other words, she didn't beat me. I beat myself.
I think today I didn't really handle myself quite well, mentally, I would say. So basically that's it. I was just making unforced errors. Like, I don't know, I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from, like, if you look from the outside, kind of like from an easy balls.
And right there, the internet exploded. Fans called her salty. Pundits called her classless. Even some of her own supporters said, "Yikes, not a good look." To make things worse, she added another gem. If Iga Świątek had beaten me the other day, I think she'd come out today and get the win.
I don't know, I think if Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win. It just, like, yeah.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I'm here sitting here, and last time I played, no, like to Iga or anything, but I played her and I won in straight sets. So, but yeah, I think regardless of who I played, I think I had a good shot to win, and I definitely had that belief. And if you ask me, like, honestly speaking to you guys, who I wanted to play was Iga, just because I felt Aryna was playing so good, and she was. So, but also Iga is a tough opponent too. So honestly, neither of them would have been a better shot, but it played out how it played out, and yeah, that's why I'm here today.
So not only did she downplay Coco's performance, but she also threw in a backhanded compliment to her other rival. Classic Sabalenka, fiery, unapologetic, and apparently allergic to media training. Now, to be fair, Sabalenka isn't known for sugarcoating anything. She's one of those athletes who wears emotions like a badge. That's what makes her entertaining, and sometimes her own worst enemy. But the timing couldn't have been worse. This was Coco Gauff's first French Open title, a career-defining moment for the young American. And instead of celebrating that, the headlines were all about Aryna's meltdown. Because let's be honest, it's not often that a top player basically says, "My opponent didn't deserve it."
Is it harder because it's the final of the Grand Slam? I mean, these events are so much bigger than
Yeah,
everything
that
else.
hurts. I mean, especially when you've been playing really great tennis during the whole week. You know, you've been playing against a lot of tough opponents, Olympic champion Iga, you know, and then you go out and you play really bad. Like, I don't know, I think if Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win. It just, you know, like, yeah, it just hurts. Honestly, it hurts. Like, been playing really well, and then in the last match, go out there and perform like I did. That hurts.
Reporters tried to give her a way out too. They asked if she wanted to clarify, and she didn't. She doubled down. She looked frustrated, borderline angry, and absolutely unwilling to give Coco credit. And look, losing a major final hurts. Nobody expects a player to be cheerful 5 minutes later. But Sabalenka's tone made it sound personal, like she couldn't stomach the idea that Coco, who's 6 years younger, just outplayed her. Fans on social media wasted no time roasting her. Some called it sore loser energy. Others said she was the tennis version of Russell Westbrook after a bad night. It got so bad that even the French Open's official page stopped reposting her quotes. That's when you know you've crossed a line. But here's where things took a turn. After weeks of backlash and silence, Sabalenka finally came forward to explain herself. At the Cincinnati Open press conference, she said, "When you lose one of the biggest tournaments and go to media straight away, you're so frustrated, so pissed at yourself, you don't think clearly. You make a comment and people forget who you are the rest of the time."
You talk about the power of social media to help tell your story, but do you think at the end of the day you're still a little bit misunderstood for who you are?
No, I think nowadays people know me as a player and as a person. Like, I feel like people know that, okay, of course she's aggressive, she's passionate, she's focused, and she's fighting for her dream, but also, of course, she's fun and she's nice, she's chill, and she's a completely different person. So I think now people knows me. Maybe like that little situation after French Open, some people don't really understand the intensity of everything, and that you lose the final of the biggest tournament, and then you go to the media straight away, and you're so like frustrated, so like pissed on yourself, and you're just trying to figure what just happened, and you don't think clean, and then you make this comment, and people go like, you know, like they forget completely about like who you are.
Translation: I was mad and said dumb things.
See someone fail and you know, like take it as the main thing, you know. So after that I also had to sit back and reflect on everything and apologize and make sure that people understand my point, that it was just, I was over emotional, I was completely wrong. So after that also took me a little while to explain myself a little bit better, but now I think people understand me even better. And also it was a tough lesson, but it helped me a lot in so many different ways. And right now I don't feel like people still misunderstand me. I feel like now they know me even better.
She continued, "I had to sit back and reflect on everything and apologize. I was completely wrong. It was unprofessional. I was over-emotional, but I learned from it." Now, to her credit, at least she owned up to it. But fans weren't entirely convinced, because her apology came almost 2 months after the match, long after people had moved on. And the timing looked suspiciously strategic, right before another big tournament. Critics called it PR damage control. Supporters said it was growth. Either way, the internet was divided. But here's the twist. Behind the scenes, Sabalenka didn't just stop at a public apology. She privately wrote a letter to Coco Gauff apologizing directly. She said, "I absolutely regret what I said back then. I wrote to Coco afterward, not immediately, but recently. I wanted her to know I respect her and what she's achieved." Coco, being Coco, didn't drag it out. She accepted the apology quietly. No drama, no public statement, just moved on like a pro. And in the most unexpected twist, The two later posted a TikTok of them dancing together. Yep, you read that right. From "she didn't deserve it" to "let's dance on TikTok." Talk about emotional whiplash. It was a clear attempt to show there was no bad blood. But let's be real, no one forgets that easily. Fans still bring up the French Open interview every time Sabalenka's name trends. And honestly, it's become part of her reputation. The fiery, overconfident powerhouse who can't always control her emotions. That said, it's also what makes her watchable. You never know if she's going to destroy her opponent or destroy her own racket. And maybe that's the real problem here. Sabalenka is too real for her own good. She says what she feels, but in the sports world, honesty comes with a price. Now, let's be fair to her. Losing a Grand Slam final isn't like losing any regular match. It's not just the title. It's the pressure, the expectations, the spotlight. When you've been training all year and you get that close only to fall short, your brain doesn't exactly work rationally. Sabalenka said as much herself. You don't think clearly, you just go out there and talk. And maybe she's right. Because her interview sounded more like someone trying to process heartbreak than someone trying to insult a rival. Still, the damage was done. Coco Gauff got the trophy, Sabalenka got the backlash, and the media got their perfect headline. Sabalenka refuses to credit Gauff after French Open loss. Exactly the kind of headline that lives forever. But let's talk about the actual match for a second. Because Sabalenka's comments didn't exactly line up with reality. Yes, she made unforced errors. Plenty of them. But Coco didn't just stand there and wait for mistakes. She played smart tennis. She forced those errors with her movement and consistency. Coco's defense that day was ridiculous. Every time Sabalenka tried to end the point early, Gauff made her hit one more ball. And that's where Sabalenka cracked. Calling it a fluke win was just denial. Anyone watching that match could see Coco earned it. And that's what made Sabalenka's reaction sting even more. It wasn't about facts. It was about pride. The irony? Sabalenka herself has been on the other side of that. She's beaten top players before, only to hear excuses from them. She knows how it feels. So when she became the one making excuses, fans called her out fast. That's the thing about being at the top. Every word you say gets magnified. And when you say the wrong thing, even once, it sticks. Even after apologizing, people kept replaying that French Open clip. Every time she wins now, someone in the comments writes, "But Coco still owns her on clay." And honestly, they're not wrong. Now here's where things get really interesting, because the story didn't end with an apology and a TikTok dance. Aryna Sabalenka's French Open meltdown became one of those moments that quietly reshaped how fans saw both her and Coco Gauff. On one side, you had Sabalenka, the emotional powerhouse, the player who smashes her way through opponents like a wrecking ball. On the other, Coco Gauff, calm, composed, and annoyingly unbothered by all the noise. And when you put those two personalities side by side, the contrast couldn't be clearer. Coco didn't need to clap back or make a statement. She let her racket do the talking, and her silence made Sabalenka's outburst look even worse. Because while Aryna was giving frustrated interviews, Coco was out there signing autographs, posting photos with her trophy, and thanking fans. The difference in attitude was night and day. Even analysts said it straight. Gauff handled her biggest win like a champion. Sabalenka handled her biggest loss like a meltdown. That one comment pretty much summed it up. But here's the twist. Deep down, Sabalenka knows that. That's why, in her Cincinnati interview, you could hear the regret dripping from every word. She basically said, "Look, I was angry, I was tired, I was human." And that honesty, weirdly enough, started to win some fans back. Because let's face it, at least she owned it. No excuses, no PR agent pretending she was misquoted. She admitted it. She messed up. And for a lot of fans, that's all they wanted. But there's still one thing about her comment that stuck. That little line about Coco not playing incredible. Even after the apology, that quote haunted her for months. Because no matter how many times she said she didn't mean it, it's still out there, printed, posted, clipped, and replayed a million times. That's the price of being honest in sports today. You say one emotional thing and suddenly you're the villain. Even if you apologize, the internet never forgets. Now, let's talk about how this drama actually helped both players, especially Gauff. When Sabalenka made those comments, the spotlight that was already on Coco got even brighter. Suddenly, she wasn't just the next big thing. She was the big thing. Everyone wanted to see how she'd respond. Would she clap back? Would she throw shade? Nope. She just smiled. That quiet confidence made her look like the adult in the room, even though she's younger. And fans loved it. It turned Coco into more than just a tennis player. She became the calm center of a storm. Meanwhile, Sabalenka's image took a hit. She went from passionate and fearless to hot-headed and insecure overnight. Which is unfair, because she's still one of the best players in the world. But that's how fast public opinion flips. And this wasn't the first time Aryna let her emotions get the best of her. Anyone who's watched her career knows she's been through this cycle before. Win big, lose badly, blow up, regret it later. That's part of her story. But this time, it felt different. Because Coco Gauff isn't just another opponent. She's the face of the next generation. Beating her at Roland Garros was supposed to be Aryna's moment to reclaim dominance. Instead, it became the biggest PR nightmare of her career. And she knows it. Even she said, "It was a tough lesson, but it helped me in many ways." Basically, she learned the hard way that raw emotion doesn't always translate well on camera. And maybe, just maybe, this whole mess taught her how to handle losing with a bit more grace. Because here's the thing. Sabalenka isn't wrong about one part. After the match, she said, "When you go straight to media after losing a major final, you're not thinking straight." And she's right. Tennis is one of the few sports where players have to walk off the court and talk about their failure immediately. No cool down time, no filter. So yeah, sometimes they say things they regret. But Sabalenka's tone that night, it wasn't just frustration, it was pride clashing with reality. She's used to overpowering everyone. And Coco Gauff didn't just beat her, she exposed her. She made her play uncomfortable, emotional tennis, the kind that breaks you mentally before it beats you physically. That's why Sabalenka's reaction was so raw. She wasn't just mad at losing, she was mad that she lost that way. Because when you're used to being the one dictating the match, nothing hurts more than realizing someone else just dictated you. So no, she didn't handle it perfectly. But in a weird way, her honesty made the whole situation more interesting. It showed how competitive and human she really is. And honestly, sports need that. Fans love perfection on the court, but they crave imperfection off it. That's what makes players like Sabalenka so magnetic. You never know what she'll say next. Meanwhile, Coco Gauff has quietly become the exact opposite. Composed, professional, and cool under pressure. Their rivalry is shaping up to be a clash of personalities as much as styles. It's power versus patience, emotion versus control, fire versus ice. And every time they meet, it's must-watch TV. Their French Open final wasn't just about tennis. It was about two worlds colliding. And that's why this story blew up beyond sports. Even people who don't watch tennis were debating it on social media. Was Sabalenka wrong for saying what she said? Or was she just too real for a world that can't handle honesty? Depending on who you ask, you'll get two very different answers. But one thing's clear. She's learned her lesson. At least that's what she claims. Her apology tour, that friendly TikTok with Coco, and her calm interviews since then all scream, "I've matured." Let's hope it sticks, because the next time these two meet, and they will, all eyes will be on Sabalenka's reaction. If she wins, she'll finally get her redemption. If she loses again, well, the microphones will be ready. Either way, this rivalry is just getting started. So what do you think? Was Aryna Sabalenka being brutally honest, or just salty after getting crushed by Coco Gauff? Drop your take in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because this rivalry isn't over, and trust me, the next round will be even messier.